Welcome in to the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter, and I'm joined as always by my cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Balls on Twitter. What are you up to, you big Tennessee homer?
Hey, buddy, what about that SEC, baby?
Ooh, buddy, 13-0 right out the gate. I obviously got to note we're recording this right before LSU Florida State, so hopefully 14-0 right out the gate for the SEC. Man, what a time to be alive. You know what?
The sweep, baby. That's what I love. It's so damn good to be this damn good. I absolutely love it. From everything. I mean, we're going to get into it, man. It was just great. College football on the TV all day long. I mean, I'm watching it on my phone. I got couple games on my laptop.
Yep.
It's like everything I can do to get some SEC football in. I was doing it, and it was. I mean, I had trouble sleeping, Mike. I don't know about you, but I was so amped up after that Utah game.
Yep.
I was just like, man, we're back, baby. SEC, brother.
Well, it ain't just the SEC that's red hot, Shane. I just wanted to call attention to this because we are rarely right. We got Cousin Shane here, 10-1 against the spread. Incredible numbers.
Printing money, Mike. I'm printing money. That's all I'm doing over here.
I'm 9-2, not too shabby myself.
Not too bad.
And then, of course, on our wager app, Shane, if you haven't already, find that in the show notes. Come wager some money with us. Won't cost you a dime. Shane, Cousin Shane, 4-0 on the wager app.
Yes.
Wager of the week. I'm 3-0, so we basically can't be unwagered, Shane. I just want to bring that to everybody's attention. Again, no credit card required, and they give you $20 free if you use the promo code SEC. But speaking of SEC, Shane?
Well, Mike, I before you get off that, I'm a little worried. Maybe people are afraid to take the bets. I mean, when you got the hot hand, a lot of people don't want to sit at your table. You know what I mean? So that's what
Exactly.
I don't know. But anybody that knows us, Mike, you know that this game's going to end pretty soon.
We may bankrupt a business or two one day, you know what I mean, with these sponsorships. But no, I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, Shane, how great was it? I want to give a shout out to all the fans. Saw so many koozies over the weekend all across the SEC. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll throw it out. We'll give you a shout out to everybody that sent us a picture of their koozie. They're hitting us up on Twitter, on Instagram. And all you got to do, if you haven't done that already, give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, or subscribe on YouTube, and let us know at that SECpodcast@gmail.com. And we mail you one of these for free, Shane. We got all 14 SEC teams. Won't cost you a thing, but hey, I'm just putting it out there. Thank you so much for all the support. We really do appreciate it.
No, Mike, I think that's one of my favorite parts is finally seeing these out there. They were in so many stadiums this weekend. He even snuck in on Kroger Field. I saw one of them. I absolutely loved it, and it keeps sending those pictures. And again, doesn't have to be at a game. You may be barbecuing, you may be tailgating, something like that. But you got a cold beer and a koozie. Take a pic, send it over. We'll be sure to retweet it.
Well, brother, enough of the lead up. You ready to talk some SEC football? Because we just a jam-packed action weekend. I'm ready to get into it.
Absolutely. I don't know if I got enough batteries over here, Mike, because we got so much action about to come out. But yes, let's talk some SEC football.
All right, biggest game. You already alluded to it, in my opinion, Shane. Florida knocks off number 7 Utah. Florida should be jumping into that poll, not only the top 25, but hell, if Utah really is top 7, then Florida should be top 10, in my opinion, after beating them there in the swamp. What a game, Shane. I mean, Florida got down early. That's why you need those fans. You need that crowd. I mean, obviously what you want to do is come out hot and get that crowd going, but Florida fumbled early. Utah capitalized, but they never blinked, Shane. And we got to hand it to Billy Napier. This is a stat I threw around all offseason, 16-3 in one-score games. Now he's 17-3 in one-score games. And if that don't tell you what type of coach this guy is, I don't know what will. I love the fact that early in the game he's going for it on 4th down.
Yeah.
late in the game, critical situations, confidence in his team. Hell, he even ran down the clock. Remember, everybody was saying, what the hell is Billy Napier doing? He's running down the clock. He had confidence they were going to convert, score a touchdown. He didn't want to leave Utah anytime. So, I mean, the guts on this guy, and, you know, all the Anthony Richardson haters, oh, man, they're eating crow this week. You know what I mean? Because he is a legitimate Heisman contender. We're not crowning them. This is not national champions or anything. They got a long way to go between now and then. But I just want to say, Shane, for all the hell we've given Utah, and their quarterback kind of reminded me of the vote for Pedro guy from Napoleon Dynamite. I thought Utah looked like a hell of a team, and that quarterback, tough as hell. Those tight ends we heard so much about, they lived up to the hype. This was not a case of Utah just coming out here and just falling flat on their face. Florida rose to the occasion. Yeah. And if I were to tell you, Shane, that there was a quarterback making a big mistake, critical situation in this game, I think 9 out of 10 people, non-Florida fans, would have told you it would have been Anthony Richardson making that mistake. But it was the Utah quarterback making the mistake. It was Anthony Richardson looking like a damn Superman, particularly on that 2-point conversion. He mid-air juked 2 people. I've never seen anything like it in my life. He was just incredible.
Dude, and I think when you look at every Heisman quarterback we've had, they talk about the moment. And, brother, he had it. Anthony Richardson had – now, I'm like you. I don't want to crown him. It's week 1. But, man, when we look back, if Florida can somehow piece together a 10, 11-win season – we're going to look back week 1 at Utah, and this is when it all started, and it's everybody's talking about it today, Mike. So, dude, this reminded me a lot of that, like a pickup game in high school, you know, and you had 2 great guys back there throwing the ball, and it just so happened Anthony did better.
Yeah, and again, maybe I should have led with that, Shane. Try not to overreact because, hell, there's probably fans hitting the panic button with their teams right now. There's other teams like Florida. They're crowning themselves. Mm-hmm. Why we're starting with Florida is just because who they beat and the impressive fashion. And it was like a heavyweight battle, so to speak. And Florida came out on top. So, you know, they deserve the praise. And how about this, Shane? I said Florida would lead this rushing battle. That's what Utah supposedly was going to be, the tougher team. Florida, 283 rushing yards. Utah 230, so you beat them by over 50 yards rushing. That was critical in the game. The red zone is where the game was won. Florida, 3 of 3 in the red zone. Utah, 4 of 6, including a goal line stand Florida had that stopped Utah. I believe it was early in the third quarter, and of course the game-winning interception by Bernie that won Florida the game. But if I may, Shane, I mean, hell, again, we're not crowning them.
Right.
One thing that maybe Florida fans don't want to hear this because they're on cloud 9 right now, but it certainly seemed like Utah, particularly late in that game, they kind of found their way, so to speak, and they were, I don't want to say they had their way with Florida's defense because, hell, Florida made the play when it mattered, but Utah seemed their offense got stronger as the game went on, and you know, I certainly thought that final drive, there was a real opportunity. Utah was going to score a touchdown and break Florida's hearts. Florida made the play that mattered. But as we eye, and we'll be talking about this game all week, as we eye that Kentucky matchup, that's where you got to shore up second half rushing defense. And hopefully, if you're Florida, you see that Utah guy puke at all the field. I mean, that's what we were talking about, baby. It's hot. It's humid. You ain't going to be ready for it. And the team that was prepared for it, they won the day.
Absolutely, man. And again, we're going to be talking about this throughout this podcast. It was not pretty a lot, okay? But it's week 1. This is what we expect. This is why sometimes you schedule some of these cupcakes. Not that Utah's a cupcake, because it's not. It was the 7th best team in the country, according to some, not us. But you know, when you look at these first game jitters, we're going to have mistakes, and we expected it. We expected it in this matchup. We were just hoping that it wouldn't cost them a ball game, and it didn't. I will say this, man. out of almost, I mean, there was a handful of teams that came out guns a-blazing. The Florida Gators are one of them. So I don't know if that's a testament to what Billy's, fall camp was like, but, there was a few mistakes, but not near as much as some of these other teams that started out week one. And I think that's important because that's something you can build off of. Anthony Richardson's performance, 3 rushing touchdowns. I mean, that's something people know he is a weapon. And when he's out there, they kept saying it, you got to defend 11 guys. That's exactly what they have to do. And that makes it easier when they start getting this passing game going, because that's obviously something they need to work on going into week 2. But this running attack, this rushing attack, not just him, but the running backs, I'm telling you what, it's a deadly combination, and the defense played better. Overall, just totally impressed with what Florida Gators had.
Pretty good football game there, huh? No doubt. Look, before we get going here, I think I just want to thank our fans for coming out. I think that was the 10th largest crowd in the history of the school. And we said in the very beginning it was going to take a team effort to get this done, to build, to create momentum, right? Positive energy on the outside. And they made a difference tonight. There's no question that they impacted the game.
I believe you guys were home underdogs. This game's coming down to the wire. What kind of statement do you feel like the team made tonight with the way they were able to win?
Well, this group's got fight in it, and I think I've said that publicly. That's one thing about our team that I respect is they compete. I mean, I've got to slow them down sometimes, right, in the practice environment. I mean, and I can remember a good friend of mine when we took the job, who had worked here before, he said, these kids at Florida are the most competitive kids I've ever been around, right? So, and I would agree with him. I mean, they've got a little bit different edge about them. So, the execution wasn't always what we wanted out there. We got so much work to do. That's what I think about. We were fortunate to overcome, many mistakes tonight, right? But the intangibles that the team showed, they continue to respond and then to rise up there at the end and make a play. So, we've got work to do. We won a game, and it's a special moment. We're going to enjoy it, and then we're going to turn the page tomorrow and get ready for SEC play.
And as a Tennessee fan, man, I was hoping this would happen maybe like 2 or 3 years down the road. I was not ready for year 1 with Billy Napier, but man, they're back. The Florida Gators are back.
All right, and now I can hear, as you say that, Shane, I can hear the groans and the complaining from old Athens, Georgia, because that's where we got to go next. I know the game was in Atlanta, but my goodness, Shane, Georgia, we don't need to say they're back because they didn't go anywhere. Just beat the hell out of Oregon, 49-3, and I don't think there's any doubt. I'm curious to know what you'll say, but I don't think there's a question right now who's the best team in the SEC, just based on week 1, because that's all we should really be going off, not all we talked about all offseason and all that. Georgia was a machine. They look like they're in midseason form, Shane. First 7 drives, touchdown every single drive. Stetson Bennett, a man that we, and particularly me, has been critical of time and time again, looks like a Heisman, not only contender, but maybe the favorite. 18 of 21, 254 yards, completion of 7 different receivers, passing touchdown, rushing touchdown. Georgia, 90% conversions on 3rd down. I mean, that's unheard of. And man, poor Bo Nix, different uniform, same Bo Picks out there. Malik Starks, the freshman, one of the most impressive interceptions you'll ever see in your life. This was just complete and utter domination.
Absolutely, Mike. This is, I told you, if they put away all the talk that they're going to be hungover, that they're not going to be able to repeat, man. I'm watching this game and I'm like, holy shit, man. This team would have beat. I mean, short of maybe Alabama, obviously, because they had because I can hear the Tide fans now saying, "Did you not see our score against Utah State?" Yes,
I think they would have beat them on Saturday, Shane. I'll just go out there and say that.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Nobody would have come close to the Georgia Bulldogs. These guys were playing like their hair was on fire. Anything? I mean, you got 7-foot tight ends jumping over people, and I'm saying it's just this team is scary as hell, and it's not just one sided. For a long time it was. last year it's all they talked about was Georgia's defense, which, yes, they held 11th ranked Oregon to only 3 points. But again, it was the offense, because Stetson had a couple of Heisman moments in here. They're not talking about it near as much because it wasn't a close game, because they destroyed the Oregon Ducks. So, man, I tell you what, Georgia Bulldogs, Georgia fans, they buy your tickets now, because your ass is going to Atlanta, no doubt about it.
Yeah, the offensive line looks spectacular. It's all we heard about Oregon. They're stout in the front seven. They just got absolutely abused. You mentioned Darnell Washington making highlight reels, and you know. A.D. Mitchell, Ladd McConkey, they stood up just like they did last year. But, you know, the one thing, and there's many, many things you could say about Georgia, one thing that really caught my attention, Shane, was Brock Bowers' performance in this game. The All-American tight end, we know he's probably the best tight end in the country. They didn't even have to utilize him that much, and what they asked him to do was block, and he was just killing people. And I'm talking 15 yards, driving people 15 yards down the field on multiple occasions. They were using him to seal the edge. I mean, how in the hell are you supposed to defend this team? I do not know. And, you know, maybe Georgia's not going to look as good as this every week, because I don't know how that's humanly possible. But as for today, like I'm saying, there is literally not a single thing to complain about aside from the fact that Shane picked Oregon to score 6 points, and they got 3. You know, so I mean, you got 3. Kirby's probably mad about that 3 right now, wishing he would have shut out Bo Nix and company. But there's always next week for that. You know what?
No, I'm with you, brother. This was just from start to finish pure domination, and it's not this isn't a Utah State, man. This isn't a Bowling Green. This isn't a Ball State, man. This is Oregon. This is 11th ranked. The people in the country thought that this was the 11th best team in the country. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 minutes into this thing, I mean, I would be ashamed to put Oregon on any type of ballot. Now, again, don't want to overreact, because, you know, Oregon may end up losing 6 games this year, and we look back and say this was, you know, again, it's like Clemson. Remember the Georgia-Clemson game last year? We said, wow, what a matchup. Then Clemson really started to suck, and we're like, well, was Georgia that good? You know, so
well, you could
there's
flip
going
it,
to be
Shane. Maybe Oregon is number 11, and Georgia's just that far ahead of them.
I don't know, man, but I mean those guys down there, as girls, they're already on cloud 9, so I don't get them too pumped up, you know.
We said we're going to overreact. We're overreacting every damn game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But next on the docket, I'm kind of overreacting on this one myself. Arkansas defends the home field, beats Cincinnati 31-24. And I got to be honest with you, Shane, I was catching a little bit of hell here, but if I'm just being completely honest, you know, I think if Cincinnati's quarterback, I already forgot his name. He was that good. But, you know, if he was a little bit better, I think Cincinnati may have won this football game.
Yeah.
And I don't think they had any business winning this game, because when Arkansas was on, when they were not making mistakes, I know KJ got banged up. Jalen Catalon got hurt, unfortunately. We'll have to see where he's at. But this is a game I thought Arkansas, when they played well and they executed, they looked miles ahead of Cincinnati. Yet Cincinnati was hanging in the ball game, and I'm a little nervous here. But as long as Arkansas continues to progress, they should be fine this year. But man, I know what these Arkansas fans were cautiously optimistic for a reason, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, an ugly win's still a win, Mike, and I'm with you there. This game had its moments. Wait, I got to pause for a second. Somebody lost a helmet. No, I'm just kidding. Anybody didn't watch it? Anybody didn't watch that game? Somebody got fired there in the equipment room, Cincinnati. I don't know. That's new. Instead of fake injuries, you just take your helmet off, I guess. But I'll tell you the thing about Arkansas. It's when they were on, they couldn't be stopped. They looked like a powerhouse. But then when they weren't, you know, they just let Cincinnati kind of creep back into this and made it a ball game more. I think if this is week 8 and Arkansas has their shit together, I think that this is a 30-point victory. But unfortunately, you got them week 1, and there was mistakes, there was injuries, there was a lot of things going on. But throughout adjustments and just the pure will of KJ Jefferson, they were able to get this victory.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Shane, because that, to me, was the difference in the ball game. One team had KJ Jefferson and one team did not. And when the plays needed to be made, KJ stepped up and made them. I mean, the game ultimately was won on the final drive, 10 plays, 43 yards that ate up the rest of the clock. Let's not call Arkansas a championship team because, hell, they haven't obviously done that yet. But that's what winning championship teams do. They bleed the clock. They take it away. Arkansas led the rushing battle 224-11. And when you see stuff like that, you outrush a team by over 100, you should dominate. And there was times it looked like they were. Trey Knox, multiple touchdowns. Jadon Hazelwood.
God, he looks good, don't he?
Jadon Hazelwood had a good one, too.
Yeah.
And even Matt Landers, I thought, lived up to the hype. So they've got the weapons. I hate to keep repeating myself here, but they just got to be a little bit more consistent, put it all together. Yeah. And I think Arkansas can live up to all this hype we've been giving them.
And again, it's the common theme. Week 1, we're gonna have this, and just thank God they didn't lose one because that could have derailed momentum. That could have changed the plan. I mean, Arkansas has got the world ahead of them. They've still got some tough games, but you don't want to fumble right out of the gate, and they almost did that, and I'm glad they didn't. This is a team that has got some juggernauts, man. They've got some dudes. I love Knox. I love this Hazelwood kid. I thought that one touchdown, it's just the chemistry they had. It was beautiful. And if they can keep working on that, Arkansas is a dangerous, dangerous team. But I am worried a little bit about the injuries, because it's not an extremely deep team.
Right.
So we gotta, get some news back on that front. But all in all, like I said, ugly victory. We'll still take it.
And transfers came up big, Shane. Dwight McGlothern with the interception, the LSU transfer. Drew Sanders, of course, the starting linebacker from Alabama. He was all over the damn field. And maybe the biggest play of the game, Jordan Dominique, the defensive lineman, strip sack. That basically killed Cincinnati any hope they had at winning this ball game, and it led Sam Pittman to have him a cold one after the game.
Sam, for all the conversation about you guys' schedule is hard enough, what is the impact of winning a game like this on your team and program?
Well, I mean, when Cincinnati was put on the schedule, I was saying why, to be honest with you. And I'm glad it's over and we're 1-0. So we are beat up, but that's a game of football. But we found a way to win. But am I tickled to death that we're 1-0 and we beat Cincinnati? Yes. And that I don't want to play them. I don't want to play them. We've already played them once. That's plenty. And we'll move on to South Carolina. But the schedule's the hardest schedule in football. You just got to try to be 1-0, and then next week 2-0. It's so to get that one out of the way with a win was really nice. And the great thing I told the kids after the game, we have a lot to clean up, but we are 1-0, and then now that's our fifth top 25 team we've beaten in the last 20 however many games we've been here. 13, 10, 24 games.
Coach,
I mean, that was just the quote of the weekend, wasn't it?
It was, man, because I was having one with him. Sweating bullets, I got money on this game.
Now, another team, Shane, we've been hyped up. We've been excited to see South Carolina wins 35-14. And it's pretty wild because there for a minute you're feeling nervous. You're thinking, oh, my God, all this hype, they're going to fall flat. Yet still they – by a wide margin, covered the spread here over a dangerous Georgia State team that, of course, has been known to put a scare into the SEC teams. And, I thought South Carolina, obviously a little up and down. I thought Rattler was inconsistent. Some wow throws, but some misses. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The biggest takeaway, aside from outstanding special teams, of course, Shane, 2 block punts, return for touchdown. That's how you won the football game. Let's not overlook the fact that Mitch Jeter had 2 field goals of 50 yards. Special teams coordinator Pete Limbo, I mean, that's got to be assistant coach of the country right now. But the biggest thing here with South Carolina, and this remains a huge red flag, Shane, going into SEC play, the offensive line. Bringing everybody back. This was supposed to be a strength. Only 79 rushing yards on Georgia State. 2.5 yards per rush. They allowed 5 sacks, and the longest rush of the day was 13 yards. And I thought even Marshawn Lloyd, I thought he had a great game considering there was no holes for him.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Well, special teams. Let's get that out of the way. If it weren't for special teams, this may not have been a victory because
Right.
This is place kick you apparently. They just reload with 50-yard kickers. So I will give them that, but I am a little disappointed because this is there was so much hype coming into week 1. We've got our quarterback finally. The excuses can stop. And the stadium was loaded. The fans were there, and they just couldn't take advantage of that crowd noise until the tail end of the game. So a little discouraging. But again, we're talking just minor mistakes. And sometimes when you see a quarterback throw, like there was one, that interception he threw, you're just like, woof, what was that about? But who knows? Maybe that wide receiver is supposed to do a different route. Maybe it could be a number of things and why we saw the interception. We don't know exactly what went into it, but this coach does. And that's one thing. If you're looking at any program that needs to bounce from week 1 to week 2, it's got to be the Gamecocks. And one thing that I when I look at a team like this, it's lack of physical contact in the offseason. These guys, that I'm sure they try to keep Rattler vertical and, don't touch him, probably keep the contact down to a minimum. But you see that when you come into a first contact game, or you see that with the defense, missing tackles and doing, stupid mistakes. So that's kind of what I think happened there in South Carolina, and they've finally hit. They're hitting now. So I think they're going to be okay. But you talk about a program again that needs to bounce back. They got to put some film study in. They got to put some work in because there was a lot of blown assignments during this game. Yeah,
South Carolina, 3 of 14 on third down. But here's a critical stat for that, Shane. Average distance to a first down was 9.8 yards. So that means basically...
Well, that's because they run them stupid-ass halfback, wide receiver screens. I'm not sold on this coordinator, man. I try to give him benefit of the doubt because he didn't have any tools last year, but damn, there was a reason that it was 3rd and long because that's exactly how their OC set this thing up.
Yeah. So they have got to get that corrected going into a next couple games, Shane, Arkansas, Georgia. So there's no time to get it adjusted. You know what I mean?
No, there isn't. This guy, he better get it, man, or he's got to get fired or something. I ain't fired. I ain't putting him on the hot seat. Well, yeah, I am. That was terrible. Terrible calling, man.
Shane, I got to ask, have you been part of a game where you blocked 2 punts for a touchdown?
Probably need to ask him. I want to be with him. Not without him. We probably did at times at Virginia Tech. I can't remember, I'll be honest with you, Ben. I've been a part of a game, obviously, where we blocked a punt for a touchdown. I can't remember in my career being a part where we blocked 2, but it was, we spent a lot of time on that, on special teams, and not just that, but all phases. And we worked the heck out of teaching our guys how to block punts, and you saw us execute it tonight, and that's got to continue to be a weapon for us. I felt, it had been a point of emphasis for us. If we did some really good things on special teams last year, but I didn't think we were very good. We call it punt pressure because we always want to put pressure on the punter, whether it's a return or a block. We didn't have a great punt pressure, punt return unit last year. If you look at it statistically, I felt like we left a lot of plays out there. So it's really been a point of emphasis. The return game, Josh had some.
Yeah, you guys have talked a lot about that veteran offensive line. What do you think kind of the disconnect was for them tonight?
I don't know if it was disconnect. It was, gives Georgia State some credit, and we got to coach better. It wasn't like we were doing anything new tonight that we didn't do last year. The same plays that went up and down the field on North Carolina last year were the same things we were calling tonight. We got to execute better. And again, like you guys have heard me say before, it's not just the offensive line. I know there's one play we were in a bunch set and we ran the ball and Amari and Brown was in the bunch and he got beat inside. And that was a bad looking play. There were some times we're not a big RPO team, but there were some times where frankly they had more guys in the box than we could block. And one of the runs to Marshawn early in the second half when he got hit for no gain, they got more people in there than we can block. Spencer's got to pull that ball and throw it. And it didn't happen enough tonight, so it goes back to us as coaches just continuing to get it where our guys know what the answers are to things and being able to run the ball more consistently.
All right, hey, speaking of getting heated, Shane, I don't know how you feel about this one, but Texas A&M beats Sam Houston 31-0.
Just skip this one. Just skip this shit, Mike. Either Mother Nature didn't want to watch this thing. You know what I'm saying? Here's what we talked about, not letting the team stick around, and you're going against Sam damn Houston, and it's, what, 10-0 with 5 minutes left in the second quarter? Golly.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Well, I'll be a little bit more positive than that, Shane. The defense is outstanding. 8 3-and-outs on 13 possessions. It seems no drop-off. Mike Elko gone to Duke.
Right.
But again, it's Sam Houston. I get it. But, man, Haynes King, I don't know. Maybe he's, maybe it's a little unfair. Maybe it's a little rust. He's still, hell, he's only started 3 games and really only played 2 of meaningful action the last 2 years. But he does have 5 interceptions in those 2 games, and it's Kent State and Sam Houston he's playing here. So they were basically boom or bust. They had multiple 60-yard touchdowns, which is outstanding. That's more than they had all last year. But here's the issue, Shane. We were told this running game was going to be elite. This offensive line was going to be elite. 110 rushing yards on 32 carries, 3.4 yards per rush, and most of that came in the second half when Sam Houston started to wear down. So, oh, man, I mean, again, we can't overreact to one result. They got another cupcake next week, but this did not look like a championship team.
I am overreacting big time, Mike, because this can't happen. This is the year, man. I picked you guys to win an SEC championship. You can't come out here. And they talk about this big offensive line. Man, they spent more time talking about that damn offensive line than actually the blocking that they're doing or lack thereof. Yeah. There's no reason that those big uglies could not push Sam Houston around and get Achane at least 200 yards rushing. That blows my mind that we were unable to do that. So, again, very young group, and just like any group, it takes a while to gel, and I understand that. And thank God they're not playing somebody legit next week. But this is another team that has got to get their face in the playbook. They got to get into film study and figure out what happened this week. Because I know you're looking at the box score and you're saying, Shane, man, they won by 30 points. Well, yeah, but this should have been a 35-point game by half. And it wasn't. It was letting these guys kind of linger around and your quarterback running for his life against Sam Houston. So we got some improvement, and a lot of it has to do with the big uglies up front.
Yeah, and to your point, Shane, at halftime, Texas A&M was rushing 1.9 yard per carry at halftime against Sam Houston. So, again, that sure as hell ain't going to cut it in the SEC.
No, absolutely not.
Jimbo, obviously, I understand you haven't seen film and everything like that, but why do you suspect was the issue getting the running game going? And
stunts up front. The twist game up front. Multiple twists and stunts and looping. They do a really nice scheme now. I'm going to tell you, they have a really nice scheme. We knew it going in, and we were over chasing the down guy and not playing on the loop, and it takes timing, and got the rhythm the second half and got back into it. But we worked it. We just got to be patient. It's tough. It can be a pain. We got to do a much better job, though. That's my fault. We got to prepare them better.
Are you concerned with what you saw from your offensive line?
Well, yeah, in the first half, we didn't play well at all. Then I thought the second half, we come out and did a nice job and established the ground game. We were able to run the football and did a better job. And we got to get better. There's no doubt.
After such a long layoff with his injury, how did you think overall he adjusted to game speed again?
Well, I thought the game speed, he did a real nice job of. What did he end up? I didn't even look at the stat. 20, 31, 364, 3 touchdowns, and hit some big plays. That's a solid performance, and he can play better than that. And but I thought he threw the ball accurately downfield. Those 2 things there. But when the plays he had downfield, hit guys in stride, made plays, and looking downfield, which is what I was happy about. And then sometimes we'll check it down a little more and do those situations. But that's part of the growth. And I thought Max come in and did a nice job. Went 3 for 4.
But hey, what team you were dead on about, Shane? The Mississippi State Bulldogs, 49, Memphis 23. They also had a lightning delay, Shane, but Mississippi State is what we said all offseason, the most experienced team in the SEC returning, and they look like it because a 2-hour delay had no effect on Mississippi State. Will Rogers, Shane, over 450 passing yards, 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers.
Yes.
Shane, Ra Thomas, Rufus Harvey, Jaden Wally, Caleb Ducking, who looks incredible, and Justin Robinson all caught touchdowns. 9 receivers had multiple catches for Mississippi
I think
State.
Mike Leach got one there too. I don't know.
I was harping on the offensive line. How would they look? Will Rogers, I don't even think he got touched in this ball game. He was clean all day. And the defense, Shane, the defense was just lights out, smothered Memphis. Most of Memphis' points came late in the ball game when it was already over. Mississippi State, 11 of 13 on third down, 10 plays of 15 or more through the air. Mississippi State's legit.
Brother, they are. And I think obviously people want to talk about the stats and Will Rogers, but damn, that defense. When they had Memphis, I think it was like 28 yards in the first half. You do that to any team, you're going to win every single game. Will Rogers threw some dimes. I think that was my favorite part, because obviously he made a few mistakes. I mean, we could critique him a little bit. I mean, he wasn't flawless during this game, but man, when he threw a couple of these dimes, it was like it was the perfect ball. Like it couldn't be in a better spot. We're talking inches in the window. So I'm telling you, if you're a Mississippi State fan, you're on cloud nine right now because your program looks good. And this is what we talked about. When you have all those starters come back, we didn't see the stupid mistakes like we saw from Memphis. Memphis was making penalties. They were, they kept shooting themselves in the foot. On the opposite side, Mississippi State wasn't doing that, and that's because these guys are used to playing together, and that's a huge benefit right out of the season here, right at season 1.
Yeah, and I just think having all these different receivers, Shane, you just don't know who to focus on if you're a defense. They're so varied. They can do so many things. And, man, we didn't even mention Austin Williams or Tulu Griffin. Add them into the mix, and 2 outstanding running backs that both had big days in this ball game. Mississippi State is we already anticipated they were going to break some records. They may shatter some records this season.
My wager of the week, 11 of 13 on third downs. You know how frustrating that is if you're an opposing team? Get down to third down. I mean, how many times are you going to see third down for what? About the 8th time, you're just going to stop,
2/3 of the game, I thought we played really well. And I was kind of impressed with the way we played for an opener. A third of the game, I thought they got after us and they pounded on us. They beat us on offense. They beat us on defense. And, and the biggest thing is we need to play a complete game. I was proud of the way we came out and played after the distractions of the rain delay. More good than bad, but clearly we got plenty of work to do.
Coach, I think you had a dozen different guys catch passes, and 6 or 7 of them had 30 or more yards. You guys really had a good night, catching the football. Just how would you evaluate your receiver play tonight? And I know there was, several competitions and things going over count, but how would you evaluate how those guys showed out in the first game?
I thought they competed. And they did some good things, and I thought that they took a step. We're a funny group of receivers from the standpoint we got some older guys, and then we've got also some really young guys, and then and we don't really have that kind of middle group, and then in our young guys, which you haven't seen much other than at practice, we're all fast guys, and they're going to be really good in the future, but we're bringing them along as well as we can. But yeah, some guys hadn't played a lot, and I thought did some good stuff. I thought, like Ra hadn't played a lot. Rufus hadn't played a lot. Ducking hadn't played a lot. Also was good to see Antonio get a big catch. And then also Justin Robinson. So I think that, it was good to spread it out. It was good to try to get as many of these guys in stride. And then, of course, they're competing for playing time, and that kind of raised the stakes on things, so that was good.
In the state of Mississippi, Shane, Ole Miss, I thought they were very impressive, 28-10 over Troy. Jackson Dart got the start. It appears they're going to pull one of these Michigans, though, Shane. They're going to start Luke Altmaier next week against Central Arkansas. So I don't know what's up with that. I hate this growing trend. Pick a quarterback and stick with them. But
Yeah.
I guess it's that, Ole Miss dominated the first half. Second half, the offense was not as good. But the main takeaway for me, Shane, two things. The defense was outstanding for Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
They were just tenacious all over Troy. Troy had no prayer in this game. And then the running game, 266 yards on the ground, 6 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. Zach Evans lived up to the hype he had 130 rushing yards. And then this guy Judkins, I'm not even, I thought he was third or fourth on the depth chart here. He's a little bowling ball down there. He looks like the real deal after 87 rushing yards and a touchdown.
Absolutely. No, a lot of people got their hands on the ball back there. And I think when you're looking at this Ole Miss, I don't know about you, Mike, but I took away more of a vanilla approach. I felt like, wait, my camera's blurry. Either that or my beer's kicking in. I can't tell which one's going on there. But Mike, it felt like more of a vanilla approach, that they weren't going to show too much, didn't need to. I was very impressed with the defense. That's something, the Ole Miss would love to have had last year, but these guys were playing, swarming to the ball. So if they can keep that going and I don't know, get some consistency up front with the offense, I think this is maybe or underestimated these guys.
Yeah, Ole Miss could be a real problem. To me, they're one of the top 5-6 teams in the SEC right now.
Yeah.
Now, another team people very high on, Shane, Kentucky. It was tight there for a little while, but they really destroyed Miami in the second half. 37-13 was the final. Miami came right out on the opening drive, Shane, and scored a touchdown. And you're sitting there saying, uh-oh. But Will Levis, man, aside from a red zone interception, he was sharp as hell. 21-32, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns. And that was considering very little push on the offensive line. Maybe a little bit of a red flag here, Shane, replacing 3 offensive linemen, the Kentucky Wildcats. Only 50 yards rushing on 26 carries. Again, 1.9 yards per rush and 4 sacks allowed against Miami of Ohio. They have got to get that cleaned up in a hurry with the trip to Florida coming up.
Yeah, I would say opposite of South Carolina, and I'm not comparing these two because they hate each other, but that offensive playing calling was absolutely gorgeous. It was like artwork out there. So it's just the things they were able to dial up. Will Levis didn't have his greatest game, but he still had a hell of a game. Yeah. Not to mention he was running for his life. The one thing, like you said, that they've got to improve on is that offensive line. This has been a staple of Stoops' offense for many, many years, and they dropped the ball, man. There's no Will was on his – how many sacks did they have? It was just –
Four sacks I got him on.
Yeah, and there was a lot of times the pressures. It kind of forced some of those bad balls. So this offensive line has got to do some improvement over the week. But all in all, though, I am very impressed with especially the offense of the Kentucky Wildcats. If they can clean up front, man, they're going to be a scary team to go against.
And I don't know about you, Shane, but one of the things that annoys me more than anything else in football, true freshman Barry Brown. He lived up to the hype. He's maybe the fastest player on the team. He had the big kickoff there in the second half that really broke the game wide open and ended up being a difference maker in the ball game. But he dropped the ball as he's crossing the goal line, and they had to review it, and it was nearly not a touchdown. I still don't understand why this is happening. He's a young player, so they'll coach that out of him. But God, I cannot stand when they drop the ball crossing the goal line. Wait till you get to the back of the end zone. How about this, though, Shane? Mark Stoops tied Bear Bryant for all-time wins at Kentucky with this win, so one away from breaking Bear Bryant's record. There ain't many coaches that break Bear Bryant's record, so that gives you an indication how great Mark Stoops has been for Kentucky. And how about this? Not since the days of Hal Mummy up there at Kentucky, Shane. Kentucky had 0 rushing plays of 10 or more yards, but 8 passing plays of 15 or more. So, they're not going air raid on us, but it is just wild to see Kentucky not be a force on the ground, but more in the air. And the transfer receiver, Taven Robinson, 6 catches, 136 yards. He is fit into this offense
He's in.
seamlessly.
Yeah.
And, that's going to be critical for Kentucky moving forward.
Well, we were wondering, who's going to be his check down, who's going to be his baby that he's going to feed, and damn, he lived the part. He was all over the place. They're going to create new ways over this weekend to get him the ball more often in space. He is electric. That's the kid from Virginia Tech, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell of an athlete.
Job. Mark, in the run game, anything movement or wise, or anything y'all saw you maybe weren't expecting from Miami of how kind of struggle?
No, nothing that we weren't expecting. We need to do a better job of handling movement and being more physical and tougher, both in the run game and in the pass protection performance.
Obvious with the pass protection, the 4 sacks allowed, or is that something you got to look at film to figure out exactly what was going on?
Well, we've got to be better. I mean, we have a good idea of some of it, in what was going on. We have a pretty good idea immediately in who it is, and so we will work hard to get it fixed. They will. It's a good unit, and they have a lot of pride, and we'll get better.
Tavion Robinson surprised you at all tonight, or is that just what he's been since he stepped on campus?
Tavion did not surprise me because I've seen it. In particular, I've seen his game elevate in scrimmages. Not that he doesn't practice hard or perform well in practice. There's just so many guys and so many moving pieces. When in scrimmages, he's really shown out. And, I was talking to Wandell before the game, and I told him I felt like Tavion was going to have a really good day, as well. And so, sure enough, he made a big play right on the first play of the game, kind of gets him going. But the nice thing about him is he's experienced. He's a good football player. He's a good feel for it. He's talented. He works hard. So he's really good addition.
That was my question.
Yeah, there, 2 birds.
Well, speaking of living up to the hype, Shane, Alabama 55, Utah State 0 at goose-egged in the
And that's the
opener.
stat.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you could say about this one. Alabama was locked in. I was giving Utah State too much credit for everything they had accomplished under this coach. Bryce Young, Shane, 6 total touchdowns, 5 through the air, 18 of 28, 195, but maybe more impressive, 100 rushing yards and a touchdown. 7 different receivers with multiple catches. First 9 drives resulted in points. 8 for 8 in the red zone. How about this, Shane? Alabama averaged 9.9 yards on first down. I mean, this is Alabama at its finest. They were locked in right away.
They really were, and I don't know about you, man, but I bet there was a lot of Tide fans holding their breath when Bryce was running. I mean, it's good to see him do it, and I think that's, we've only had one player, like one individual win the Heisman 2 years in a row, and it's like some old cat born in the 50s. I can't remember.
Archie Griffin.
Yeah. Is that, yeah. And I think we got a real shot seeing it again, brother, because, if he's able to continue doing, he's so cool, calm, collective. I've never seen, it doesn't matter if the pocket is just breaking down all around him, he's still going to find a guy. And if he doesn't, he just gracefully hits the field, starts running. I've never seen anything like it. This is your number 1 pick right now, in my opinion.
Well, we've given the Heisman to 3 players in this podcast, all from the SEC. I love it. At the last 2 games, not a bunch of major takeaways, FCS opponents, but Auburn just destroyed Mercer 42-16. TJ Finley threw a couple of picks, but he looked solid aside from that. Robbie Ashford, the backup quarterback, came in and he was electrifying. 4 of 7, 100 yards, big plays with his feet. And he was also, if you're not seeing the clip, go check it out, Shane, on one of Tank Bigsby's big runs.
Oh,
Robbie
beautiful.
Ashford come out here and pancaking people. This guy's a ball of energy. Speaking of Tank, 147 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, and Jaquez Hunter, 3 rushing touchdowns. What a duo they are. We'll learn more about Auburn as the season goes on, but this is what you want to see, taking care of business.
And I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot of quarterback controversies floating around the SEC, but none thicker than Auburn. This kid came out, he looks legit. I don't know if it just had a hell of a run. Nothing against Tank, because Tank threw some pretty balls, but But I don't know, man. This other kid, he may be the real deal. So they got their hands full, but they got arguably two of the best running backs in the SEC. That I know it's Mercer, and I don't want to overreact, but those two, I ain't seen anything like that since Cadillac and Brown. You know, it's just it is a 1-2 combo.
Well, speaking of giving the Heisman away, Shane, Mike Wright led Vanderbilt 2-0. Hey, Vanderbilt, the end of week 1, Vanderbilt's won as many games as they won all last year. So let's give them their due. 42-31 over Elon. Mike Wright, Shane, the first Vanderbilt quarterback in program history to score 6 touchdowns in a game. He was doing it through the air. 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing. He was just electrifying. And this is what we said we wanted to see. Keep Mike Wright in the pocket, let him air it out, and he got it done in addition to some big plays. But the defense, Shane, gave up 495 yards to Elon. Vanderbilt was only 5 of 13 on third down, and Elon kind of won the second half here, 21-14. You never want to have your SEC program basically showing that Elon's got more depth than you had the second half, but that's kind of where we're at in this Vanderbilt rebuild. But the story, the takeaway is not Elon's production. It's Mike Wright and this Vanderbilt offense. Give him some momentum going into a huge game against Wake Forest.
Yeah. Well, week 1, my camera's out, you know, so I guess we're all got some things we need to work on, like having batteries prepared. So, no, Mike is, again, he's the focal point of that offense. It's 2 weeks in a row. He's willed them to victories. But I am discouraged a little bit by that defensive front. You know, they let Hawaii kind of have a little bit there at the start of the game. And now here's Elon coming out with 152 rushing yards. They definitely are going to have to work on that because there's no gimmies. They got some tough. Is it Wake Forest coming up, I believe? And then
Wake Forest.
Then they got some SEC opponents. I mean, you're going to have to tighten up real quick and find some competitive depth of that front, or you guys are going to get. Mike can't do it all. They can't put him at nose guard. You know what I'm saying?
All right, final thing here, Shane. The opening lines are out via Circa Sports.
Okay.
So I just want to run through a couple of these with you. San Jose State at Auburn. What do you think that line would be?
I don't know anything about San Jose, so I'm going to say Auburn favored by 9.
21 Auburn's favored by.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right. No respect for San Jose.
Appalachian State at your Texas A&M Aggies.
Man, what a onside kick that was, huh? Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Them boys got laid out. So who's App State playing here?
Texas A&M and Appalachian State. They scored like 40 points in the fourth quarter against North Carolina. So I'm not saying this is going to be a ball game,
Right.
but it could be a little bit of a test if the Aggies don't improve, particularly on that offensive line.
Yeah, if you're doing first half betting, I would say 8 points for Aggies, but I'm going to say 24 as a team.
A&M, 15-point favorite. How about that?
Oh, okay. All right. I like that.
All right, Missouri's going on the road, Shane, at Kansas State. Line for this one.
People are kind of high on Kansas State. I'm going to go Mizzou -1.
Kansas State -8.5.
Oh,
I like Missouri in those. Give me those points on.
Yeah,
the
I
road.
do too. I like that too.
All right, how about Wake Forest, Shane, at Vanderbilt?
No. I still think they're going to lean toward Wake Forest here. Give them -6.5.
Oh, nailed it. Perfect. Yeah, Wake Forest favored by 6.5. Your Mississippi State Bulldogs, Shane, going all the way to the West Coast. Well, not quite the coast, but almost at Arizona.
Man, Mississippi State -13.
-7. You got to jump on that, right? I mean, Arizona
Yeah, I
won
like
like
that
1 or 2 games last year.
Bet that one up. Get it in, kids, because it's changing quick.
All right, here's the big games of the weekend, Shane, in the SEC. Alabama on the road at Texas.
Give me Alabama -13.
I thought you were going to say 50. It's 18.
Well, that's exactly. Well, that's what it's going to be. So there's another one. Free money.
All right,
Matthew McConaughey's going to be pissed.
We got 2 conference games here. South Carolina at Arkansas.
Oh man. Give me Arkansas. No respect for Gamecocks. Arkansas -13.
Arkansas -8.
Okay.
And then an SEC East showdown, Shane. Kentucky at Florida.
Oh, this is going to be a hell of a matchup, Mike. I think people are just eating Florida up right now. So give me Gators -3.
Gators -7.
Ooh.
That's juicy, isn't
You
it?
hear that, Big Blue Nation? Huh? Where are you at? Where's this game at?
In Gainesville.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right,
Well, I don't care if it's in Steve Spurrier's backyard. That's going to be a hell of a matchup wherever it's at.
And I saved this one just for you, buddy. Tennessee at Pitt. Line for that one.
Tennessee -12.
-5. Man, you got no respect.
on,
Pitt's
baby.
number like 18 in the country
No,
or something like
I don't. I don't care. Pitt can be number 1 in the country. They're going to get slaughtered by them Tennessee Vols.
Well, hey, man, this was one hell of an opening weekend to SEC
Yes.
action. We're about to watch LSU take the field. Hopefully, the SEC goes 14-0 this opening weekend. You got anything before we hop off the line?
You hope they do, but you still picked Florida State, so let's not forget that.
I know, but hey, I still root.
I know,
I'm rooting for LSU to get the W.
I'm messing with you, Mike. No, I'm ready to get off here and watch that game. See what Brian Kelly and company are going to do down there in LSU. But brother, it has been a fantastic weekend. I mean, we still got some more college football to watch, but it's here, baby. It's on. It's on we got victories. Everybody started out of the gate just like they wanted.
Yep.
Got to work on a few things, including myself. Getting this camera up and running, but. Mike, week 2 is in the horizon, so I'm ready. I'm ready to see what happens this week.
Yeah, no doubt, brother. Well, I appreciate you. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you for checking us out. SEC football's finally here. It's the best time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll catch you on the next one.
I think I'm a little hungover, Mike. It wasn't Georgia, it was Shane. But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Whatever. Go Vols.